Welcome to the Good Rookie Show. My name's Faheem.
And my name is Nelly J, y'all, and we are good
That's
rookies.
right.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Good Tuesday. And guess what? It's the Good Rookie Show.
Yep.
Yep. What's going on, y'all? So, as you know, we like to bring you guys the hottest topics in sports and culture, all the way from the city, beautiful city of Toronto, aka T Dot, aka the Six. You know how we do. You know what I'm saying? Back to back. So, Fahim, a lot of things have happened this week in the sports world. NFL is back. Shout out to the WNBA champions, the Aces, and all that. But wow, the news, a lot of hot topics. So I know we had a hard time picking which topic to tackle this week, but I think we got y'all a lot of things in store for y'all tonight. So let's talk about first something that was announced this earlier this month was the WNBA is gonna have a game, a preseason game in Toronto. I
hmm
think it's the first time it's gonna be done. What's your thoughts being from Toronto? The fact that they're going to try to do an exhibition game here.
So always went back and forth with Toronto getting a team. Initially, I thought it would be an amazing sell-off. Then after when there was a little bit of talk, maybe about 2 years ago, just before the pandemic, and it didn't seem like anything was happening. Then I was second guessing myself and saying, well, maybe I'm off. Maybe it won't work here. Um, it's clearly after what's been happening, especially over like the last few years since the pandemic, summer basketball in Toronto, actually, well, say Canada, but most definitely in Toronto with this EBL coming and being a success during the summer. The WNBA would be a sell-off. I think it'd be amazing for the WNBA to expand their brand up north. How about you?
Yeah, I think we're the same. I think it's great. First of all, I think it's wonderful for them to have the game here.
hmm
If they're going to have a franchise here, I'm not sure. The question is, where will they have it? Because we don't really have a place for a professional basketball team yet. We use the Pan Am Center in Scarborough, but
hmm
outside of the center, everything was built for the Pan Am games, like north of Toronto. So the question is, where will they play? They can't play in the ACC or Scotia Bank, we want to call it now. So, but I do think it'll be a good
I
look
I do have
for.
one. I have a place, perfect place,
Mhm.
Rico Coliseum, where the Toronto Marlies play right under the ACC. It seats about 5,000, and that's pretty
Okay,
much I think all they need. So that's
the
mhm,
Rico Center. Okay, yeah,
mhm,
so that can work. I think this is a 5,000 seater.
right.
That's my concern. So if that can work, great. But yeah, I think having a game here will be wonderful. I think it's good for the city. Is good for the younger. We have so many ladies and girls playing basketball now. There was one called Queens of Basketball. I think it was Queens of Basketball. Don't quote me wrong, but it was put on by
Is it Hoop? I
um
think it might be Hoop
Hoop Queens,
Queens.
thank you,
Okay,
Hoop Queens,
right.
thank you.
Okay,
And that was really that I heard that went really well. I wasn't able to make it, but shout out to Hoop Queens and for the folks who organized that. So I just think it would be a really good look. Having a game here would be great, but I think we should have our own team. So I'm excited to have a game here. But for me, it's like, okay, this is cute, right? This is cute. Um, I'm hoping it's maybe a Kia Nurses team, right? So the Mercury, and hopefully
for
she could
sure.
be playing because I know she's been injured, as you know, for the past how much months now. But whoever we get, like I want to see Candace Parker. I don't want to see the Indiana Fever. They only won 5 games. Like I want to see an actual two good teams,
Mhm.
not just like the Aces, like teams that have stars like Seattle. Like I want to see some good teams coming up here, not just the bottom. No offense, but the teams that aren't top five. So if you're gonna do it for me, just do it right and have a
Right.
top teams. I don't want to see again the Indiana Fever playing in Toronto. No offense, ladies, but your team is bad. Yeah,
Uh, uh,
but a good look.
so Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, the ones that own the Raptors, the Maple Leafs, the big conglomerate,
TFC, yep.
TFC, the big
Mm-hmm.
conglomerate up here. They,
Argonauts.
yes, they've actually been in talks. It seems like for what's been reported, of them possibly looking into getting a franchise. So hearing that the MLSE is getting involved with this, um, it's I to me I feel that's pretty much a done deal. Once MLSE steps in,
I
I
don't
can't
think it is. I don't think
really.
it is for him.
And why?
No, because the
Why?
money, the cost to fly to Toronto. Remember,
Mhm.
there's so many issues with flights. Imagine I gotta go through flights and customs. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see it happening. To be honest,
Really?
like, no, I don't. Like, that's the thing, right? Like, I've been traveling to the States quite a few times this past couple of months. Faheem,
Hmm.
bro, it's a lot. It's a
Hmm.
lot. If you're coming into Canada, it's the worst airport in the world, in
Hmm.
the world.
That's yeah.
Okay. So imagine having to catch flights back and forth, like, one game here, and their games are like 2 nights apart, right? It's just the fact that what I've read from the ladies who do travel on the road for the WNBA, it's just a lot. It's a short season, very tight schedule. Your flights have to be on time, have to leave on time. There's no you can't not miss a flight. So because the airport is so bad, I think it's not going to be in our favor because they have to travel to Toronto, go through customs every time in Toronto. And that to me, because it's WNBA, unless we find a way they can go through a faster line. But I was told they go through regular lines like everybody else. Even the NBA players don't get to go through unless they have it. Like, so that's what I'm saying. It's to me, the WNBA, when it comes to financing, the flights we saw,
Mhm.
Brooklyn's team, New York Liberty team got fined 500,000 for using chartered flights.
Mhm.
Fly to Toronto and out of Toronto, I think is going to add a lot more ailments or issues to these players that already struggle because they all fly commercial. They're not flying how the NBA players are flying on their own private
So let
planes.
me let me throw it just some real quick. So Toronto to Buffalo is what, an hour and a half, maybe? Couldn't
I
they
mean,
just go from Toronto, drive to Buffalo, cross the border there? Then that's like it's an
but,
hour and
but,
a
but
half drive. I get it's an inconvenience, but
I mean,
in some cities you might be stuck in traffic for that long. So you never know.
well, honestly, I don't know if they're going to want to do that. That's a good
Mm-hmm.
suggestion. But then the day is still, they have to fly commercial flights out of Toronto. And if you guys know about Toronto flights, delays are insane.
Right.
And they're flying after games.
Mm-hmm.
Commercial flights, typically the last flight to Toronto, our airports are open 24/7. So they're going to have to catch the flight right away. Like if they're flying
So,
private
mhm.
flights, I would say yeah, it can work, but they're not the flight. They gotta fly with American Airlines. That's who they fly
Right.
with.
So, and I
So
agree 100%. And that's what I'm
yeah, it's
saying.
just it's not ideal.
With Pearson, you're right. It is horrible. But I think, like Buffalo is like an hour and a half away. You drive to Buffalo, it just comes down to is an hour and a half drive coming into Toronto and out of Toronto. Is that an inconvenience? I don't think it's that much of an inconvenience, but
After
from a
playing a long ass game to sit in the bus, it depends, right? Again, like
yeah,
I can't speak for the athletes that
right.
are traveling. All I know is that that is a that's that's a big L for us, right? The other
Mhm.
things we're good at, like
Right.
fans, whatever.
Right. And
It's just the logistics. And I have friends who work in the WNBA, and their biggest issues is logistics and scheduling
mhm.
because they schedule these games in a 3 month span. I remember, like, every team plays each other at least once, so it's just an inconvenience, I think, for the athletes. Now on the opposite side, we win in every other category, right, in terms
Right.
of fan base, whatever. But
Right.
I think having a team in Canada, I think is too early. I think they're going to go with Nashville. They have a big market in Tennessee with Memphis. I think going to San Francisco is a good market. I think going to Philadelphia, like they have other markets that they can go to that I think they'll do as well as Toronto. I don't see how we win over those cities because of the logistics.
So summer basketball in Toronto, it's this, like I mentioned, the Scarborough Shooting Stars and the CBL, or say the WNBA team. Of the two teams, who do you think is a hotter ticket if they play the same night?
Um, I don't know. That's hard to.
I think the
That's hard
WNBA
because
by far.
yeah, no, yeah, sorry, harder ticket, yes, but again, like it's not about the harder ticket. It's about the teams flying in,
No, no, I
like
no, yeah, but
so. To me, the issue isn't the ticket selling. I think that's fine. I think the issue is this: the biggest
right.
issue that these athletes have. When you talk to any WNBA player, I actually played a podcast about Adara Taurasi talking about her experience in WNBA, and their biggest challenge is just the traveling. Dog, the
I
commercial
am
flights are killer.
so I
So
understand. I
yeah.
understand. But from a basketball standpoint, I do think that if they can get past, like you mentioning, the flights and the logistics and everything, that is, I think it's sell out completely.
Yeah,
Every
but
single
the
every
issue
single
isn't
game.
selling. The issue isn't selling out. The issue is
I
just
I'm not talking
logistically.
about the issue. I'm just
Yeah.
simply stating that I think it would do well. I
Oh yeah, of
agree with
course it'll do
everything you're
well.
mentioning.
Yeah, like I don't think anyone's denying that, right? It will do
Okay.
well, but that isn't our. I'm not talking about us doing well. But the issue is that we have to win over the other 16. You mentioned a statement that we're gonna definitely win. I'm not so confident. Like those other cities are in America. They have airports in those cities directly, and it's
Mhm.
less. They don't gotta travel an hour to an airport. You know what I'm saying? Or to get to Buffalo. Like they don't gotta do all that. So my thing is that yes, we're a plus on other columns, but we are negative on that column. So to you to say that, oh, we're definitely going to get a team, all I'm saying is that I'm not as confident as you are because of the logistics. That's all I'm trying to say.
I can name a team that I think does have an hour travel to the airport. That would be the LA Sparks. LA traffic, I've never been there. I heard it's horrendous. So I can't imagine you going from
Well,
the airport and getting there in half an hour.
no, well, where
You know what I'm saying?
The Sparks play in the Staples Center, and there's
Right.
actually two airports. They're not, and I still live in LA. It wasn't an hour to the airport,
No.
and actually I've traveled to LA to
Mhm.
get to the airport. It isn't an hour from the Staples Center. That's not
Okay.
true. It's only a lot of traffic when you leave downtown LA. You're going outside of that, but
Mhm.
the Staples Center is in downtown LA, so it's not
Okay.
an hour to get to the airport. Nah, they don't have that. Yeah, I'm talking like again,
Cool.
we're not competing with them, and we're competing with the new cities. So all I'm saying is that I'm still like it's 50-50. If we get it, wonderful. I think
Mhm.
we'll do well here. But I know from what I keep hearing this issue from past players and current players that the commercial flights are a killer. That's why they would love to have charter flights for these ladies. But as you know, the league isn't making is in the red, so they're not going to get charter flights yet. But that's why I was saying, like, I'm not as confident as you are that we're going to definitely get a team. I think we'll get a team for sure in the future. Right now, it's going to be a tight race. But
Mhm.
I think they're going to announce it next year, I think, or the year after, whatever they announce it, that'll be great. But if we can figure that out, like the airport stuff, it will be great. Like an
Mhm.
actual, maybe a section for them. So when they come to the airport, they go straight. Like if we can find a way to accommodate these athletes, then I think it'll be wonderful. But we got to figure out because Pearson Airport is just bad.
Mhm.
It's just bad.
All right. So Adam Silver in the W Adam Silver in the NBA.
WNBA.
The NBA commissioner. You just mentioned about accommodation. There's some rule changes and some things that he's looking to incorporate to in regards to lowering the draft age. That's one, and also having a special program that cites mental health issues on how the league handles physical injuries or mental injuries, how players are affected mentally. Those are two big things that I think come 2022 would be needed. What's your thoughts, first of all, in regards to lowering the age? And then let me know what your thoughts in regards to the league's stance in mental health.
Yeah, and I want to add something too. It's
Hmm.
not just Adam Silver; he's the NBA commissioner. We got to
Hmm.
give it up to our sister, our Black Queen Tamika. Okay, Tremaglio. She's
Okay.
the director of the NBPA, so
Hmm.
she's also the person that has asked for it. So I don't want
Okay.
people thinking Adam Silver it was all his idea. No, no, no.
Hmm.
The NBPA, they're the ones pushing for stuff like having mental illness as a part of a physical, like the same way you miss a game for an injury, physical injury, you can also miss a game for a mental or ailment where a psychiatrist will say, yeah, this person needs this day off due to inability or whatever. So
Hmm.
big up to Tamika. I think people always Adam always gets all the glamour, but the CBA talks happen between two organizations, and she's ahead of that one. So I just want to give her a shout out.
There
Um,
you go.
but I do think it's a good idea. Like lowering the age, I'll have no issue with it. I don't think we're going to see a slew of high school players get into the NBA. We're only going to see the guys that you can tell are going to be that guy, right? Like the LeBrons, the Giannis's, the guys who you can tell when they're like 6'7", 200 pounds under 18. Yeah, maybe you can play in the NBA, sir. But if you're 6'7" and 105, no. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
this is not going to create an issue for me because I do think some guys and some players we can tell that they can that their skill set can translate well in the NBA. And I think having to do 1 year in college is just a waste sometimes. Not all, but sometimes depending on what school they go to, right? So I'm down with that, but but I don't think we're gonna see a lot of 18-year-olds getting drafted unless they're like Kobe's. You know what I mean? Like think about all the past 18-year-olds for him that were drafted, the Garnetts, those guys, like they were special. You know what I'm saying? When they're in
Mhm.
high school. So I just think that is for the outliers, the guys that are going to be really, really good. And but I think we're going to see a lot of 19-year-olds, and I just hope a lot of these kids don't go to the NBA draft too early because I think some kids think, oh, I can enter the draft now. It's like, wait, not yet, because like you're not ready yet. So I just hope that we don't have a whole bunch of 18-year-olds declaring in the draft too early, because I do think that a lot of them still need that extra year of like weight gain, you know what I mean, like training, all that, right, before they play. So I think it's a good idea. I'm not sure why they even changed it in the first place. I thought the one and done rule was really one and dumb because it just gave more money to the NCAA and the other stuff like the Ignite teams and you know what I'm saying, like
Mhm.
overtime. Like
Mhm.
I didn't understand why you do that, because now you're creating another level of revenue for other companies, which I'm cool with. I just felt that why are we going to limit these kids if they're good enough? Let them play. And Faheem, think about this, right? Only the NBA and NFL are the only two like leagues that limit ages. The NHL doesn't do that. NHL will draft people from 15, 14. They don't care. The MLB doesn't do it, right? Soccer doesn't do that. It's only basketball and football, right? I don't, and because there's so much money in the college space, that's why they do that. You know what I'm saying? Because the money is not in baseball college or college soccer, it's in basketball and football. And I think the NBA, NFL have accommodating those leagues for a long time. I would love to give the younger players, if they're good enough to play, why not? If they're good enough to play professionally, why say you can't play until you're done? You know what I'm saying? So I'm cool with it. What about you? What's your thoughts on lowering the age, and of course the adding mental health to like the injury report?
All right. So in regards to lowering the age, Adam Silver, he's obviously feeling the pressure from the NIL in the NCAA. Like now, players, as we know, it was high school, college, the league. Now, college, NCAA basketball, people are not now. It could be high school, could be go overseas, it could be high school, like you mentioned just a moment ago. Go to the G League for the Ignite. Like there's different avenues to get to the league. So if I'm Adam Silver, it does make sense for me to try and attract this younger talent before we lose it elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do think though, for because you mentioned a lot of the successful, you mentioned the Garnetts, the LeBrons, like the ones that do make it. I can think of, you have people like Eddie Curry, who had a very short career coming right out of high school. Um, like now, mind you, that's the minority, I think. So the majority, I think, and there's with the draft, there's only 2 rounds, 30 each, so that's 60 players, right? I can't see a lot of these 18-year-old high school
Agreed.
phenoms being part of that top 60.
Mm-hmm.
Your best hope is to get maybe that, handful of ones that you think might go on potential to find out with the league being, skewing younger. A lot of players may show promise early and kind of fizzle out. And I am finding, especially now, that a lot of players, it's not uncommon for a player to hit his rhythm later. You know what I'm saying? Like you miss out on some great players who haven't had their, till their like third or fourth year. It's more like kind of like in football, in NFL as a quarterback. They say a quarterback doesn't really hit a stride to like what's the third year, something like that, right? So I don't know. Like I'm all for them skewing younger to 18. It's just I do hope. I think they might have to do something in regards to the draft. So keeping it
Like
obviously the
what?
same.
What do you mean, like to the
Well, I
draft?
mean, the process, you're going to have a lot more of these young kids declaring. So you're going to have to reject a lot of these players who are declaring. So I'm wondering if a player does declare from high school and he declares and he says, oh, okay, well, um,
Yeah, like
They,
so declaring is there's no limit there's no limit to declare,
mhm,
right? That will have to change. At the end of the day, like what happened before, when you declared, but doesn't mean that we're going to invite you to the green room. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah, yeah,
it just depends on the like LeBron was declared young, but he was invited because it was LeBron. We all can tell
yeah.
when he
Hmm.
was like grade 9, he'd be special. You know what I'm saying? So again, I don't think lowering the age is not for everybody. It's going to be for the specific highly skilled players that we all can tell are going to be that guy, right? Kevin Garnett, Doug, you draft him when he's 18. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Giannis, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Kobe, yeah. Certain players you draft young, right? Steph Curry, I think someone like Steph Curry, to your point, I don't think we would have drafted him at 18, but what he did in college made him even better. So to your point, the lowering of the age is not for everybody. It's for the
Hmm.
specific ones, guys who you know are that guy. But some guys, like you mentioned, like the Steph Currys, are going to blossom into better athletes later on. So
Hmm.
the draft is not going to limit those guys either. It's just to give those guys who are younger a chance to declare. And if they're that good, they get drafted. If not, the NBA is still the NBA. They
Oh,
have scouts,
yeah.
and those guys do lots of homework, watch lots of tape before they draft anybody. What I hope, I mean, some teams don't, but I hope they do. So to your point, like I don't think the draft has to change. I think the scouts will have to do more work. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? That's it. They gotta do way more work, but that's not the NBA's like issue, right? That's the
Yeah.
team's issue.
Do you think that Bronny, because the year this is supposed to come into effect, apparently is going to coincide with Bronny's due to, or would be eligible at that age of 18. Thinking ahead, do you think Bronny goes straight to league, or do you think he still does traditional one and done? What would you think right now?
If I was Bronny, I would do an extra year. I really would. Only because like I think it would help him. I think he's a very smart player. I think he just has to do a little bit more development in terms of like you know what I'm saying? So
So I'm just
so
wondering though.
to me like he's not like a powerhouse. You know what I'm saying? Like you know so I would do a one like to be honest, most if you're a guard, I would think most guards, like point guards,
Mhm,
should do an additional year because I think the point guard position is very competitive and you have to show something. Like you have to show that you're winning. In the NBA, you have to show us that you are a winner to be that point guard position, right?
right.
I think in other like if you're a center or a four, like that kid in France, right? He can be drafted right now because he's huge and like everyone wants him and he's not even in the draft in the league yet, right? So certain guys that are like the fours and fives, those guys will be drafting I think earlier, but the guard you have to be really special to be drafted at 18, like really special,
True.
like what you have no one else has in the NBA. So if I'm Bronny, I would wait if I could. I
Right.
would,
So
but that's me though.
yeah, no, yeah, he's just under top 50. I think they have him less like 35, 40. So, especially him being a guard, I totally agree. It's just I wonder if you're Bronny James and you're seeing other people from your draft who are going straight to league, if there's that extra pressure to think, well, you know what, this guy's going to league, so maybe I might want to go to league. I don't know, just a thought. We'll see. We'll keep our eye
Yeah,
on it and see.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Most
At the end of the
definitely.
day, like his dad is smart. He is one of the best, in. So like I'm
Hmm.
sure
Hmm.
LeBron will know more than we do. But yeah, like whatever he decides, it'll be best for him and his family.
And
So
what about the mental health aspect? We've had Kevin Love, we've had DeMar DeRozan, Ben Simmons. We've had some marquee players who've been very open about their mental health. I'm pretty sure something like that would have an effect of why they're actually implementing things in place because I
hmm
think players do need
yeah,
assistance from that,
especially
and
like
it's long
as
overdue. I think.
yeah, like I mean, if like players are human, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like so,
Hmm.
like, do you want to go to work every day? No, you know what I'm saying? This is their
Hmm.
job. Like, I know it's basketball, but they still need days off. And sometimes, like, this is why Faheem, we have sick days, we have personal days for a reason because we understood no one could like it's people. Well, they get the summer off. Doesn't matter. Like, this is still a job, high pressure, the travel, the road. They go through a lot. So I think it's good because I think sometimes players need a mental break. And honestly, they do it now anyway, but they don't say mental, they just say my ankle is sore. Like, but you know what I'm saying? Right
Load
now, they're all,
management.
yeah, like load management, like they're doing it now anyway. So why not just have it designated so we know, okay, players suffer from this. And I think it's good. I think DeMar needed mental breaks in Toronto sometimes,
Mhm.
It's just something I think is overdue. So, like I said earlier, but when I answered the question, I was like, yeah, I think it's dope. So, one other thing they're going to add to the CBA is they're going to look at fan civility, like how fans treating players. That's a
Mhm.
big thing that we saw, right?
Mhm.
So they're going to talk about how can they obviously address the fans, the ones who the ones who or whatever, and also they also want to address harsher tax penalties for luxury taxes. The Warriors won, but they were way over the cap, right?
Mhm.
So they want to put harsher penalties to not make these teams pay additional hundreds of millions for going over, right? So I think that's a really good idea because we need more parity. So if we can cap and put harsher penalties on teams that are going over, why not?
Mhm.
So those other 2 points are going to talk about, and I think they have until I think December of this year to pull out, and then pull out. Sorry, y'all, to remove themselves from the. I don't know what the term is. We don't talk about y'all to pull out game, but they got to pull it out, and then they can negotiate for next year. Look at your face. I don't know what to say. Like it's the only term I can think of. I
I
don't know.
got you.
Decline, or
Withdrawal. I don't
withdrawal.
know.
Oh shoot, sorry y'all. Oh man, my bad. God
All
damn.
right. Nelly J, I want to want to go to for the culture.
Ooh, for the culture. We like to highlight individuals for the culture. And today we get to highlight actually someone who plays in the Canadian. Well, he's a professional Canadian ice hockey,
Mhm.
but he plays for the Calgary Flames. So Nazim Kadri, he is for the culture this week, y'all, because my man donated over $1 million to the London Health Sciences Center. Okay. Nazim is actually was born in London, Ontario. All right. And so he's a London native. I went to Western Faheem in London, as you know.
Mhm.
So this is really dope that, a seventh overall draft pick in '09 by the Maple Leafs is now actually giving back $1 million to his home city into a hospital. So I think it's really, really dope. So
Mhm.
what's your thoughts on this and Kudri and him giving back $1 million to this hospital?
Mhm. Kadri's had his ups and downs through the league. So you mentioned his most recent team. I think it's the Flames he got traded to, but he won the cup just last year with the Avalanche, which is
Mm-hmm.
really dope. First of all, that he's a Muslim hockey player, so he's actually endured some form of, I don't know if oppression is the word. I don't even call it racism, but it hasn't been a smooth road for him. So that's part of him
Prejudice.
winning.
The term is prejudice. Yeah, prejudices.
Okay,
Yeah,
prejudice would probably maybe the word.
yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Um, where he's won the cup. He brought it back to London. When we say London, I just want to clarify it's London, Ontario, not London,
Mm-hmm.
England. For those, when you say London, outside of Canada, they might be thinking
Well, I
England.
mean, I said
Yeah.
London, Ontario
Oh, you
initially.
did.
So
Okay.
if they forgot, then
Coolio. No, no, no.
that
That's
that
cool.
that's a them problem. They can think London, England. I'm joking. I'm
So,
joking. Yeah.
but yeah, no, Kadri. I think it's amazing. $1 million given back to the community, and especially him being an athlete. These are the stories that really aren't really being mentioned at all. So I think we definitely have to highlight the fact that yes, he's a Canadian playing in the United States National Hockey League, but still making a difference with that. And it's called the Nazim Kadri Surgical Center. So, I mean, shout out to Kadri for that, most definitely.
Well, I have a question for you because you mentioned, I think it's really important for folks to know that he is Muslim.
Hmm.
We don't really see that many Muslims picking up ice hockey. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So,
Hmm.
can you guess though how many Muslim players are in the NHL?
Oh,
Do you
good
have that?
one.
Do you know
And
that?
in regards to a percentage
No, how many
or
they
the
are?
number, the actual
The number,
number?
yeah.
Whoa. Um, I'm gonna go with less than. I'm gonna go with 7.
Okay, so I'm trying to find the number, but
Oh, okay. I
but
thought you had it.
so as of
I
20
don't. Did they
so
even have a
by
record for that?
well, it's a funny thing, right? So as of 2017, there was two,
Okay.
but Kadri is the first Muslim to ever win
Oh,
the
for
Stanley Cup.
yeah. Hmm.
So that's obvious. Like I mean, I think we all could have guessed that, but
Right.
there's only two they
Two,
said.
right.
So I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
find what the other one is, but it's the thing
Mm-hmm.
about, ethnicity and race within the NHL. The NHL has been known as a white, very white type sport.
Mm-hmm.
However, there's been a lots of, as you know, I said Black Ice, or the movie that LeBron and Drake debuted on TIFF this
Mm-hmm.
past during TIFF. They debuted their new documentary about Black ice hockey players and their influence on the sport, and that
Mm-hmm.
was debuted in TIFF in September. But TIFF
Got it.
is Toronto International Film
International Film
Festival, for those
Festival.
who don't know. So I just think it's really cool that we're bringing light to the Black influence of hockey, and now we have Muslim players hockey. I think Tampa Bay, they had the first like lineup of Black players on one line to start to play in a game. So we're seeing a lot more past diversity as actually being talked about. However, we're a long way to go, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
like in baseball and hockey, they both struggle with having a diverse like players. So it's something that I know the NHL is aware of, and we had Kevin pick up to Kevin Weeks, who's also an advocate of this as well. But the fact that Kadri is the first Muslim player to ever lift a trophy, and I'm not sure how much they get in terms of bonuses when they win, but the fact that he's putting $1 million and donating it to London Health Sciences Center. And for those who don't know, like I used to work in sciences centers myself. So I worked in labs and stuff like that myself. But I've worked in labs in London, Ontario. And so I know that money is so important because so much research is done in London, and it's going to support all the like lab assistants, the scientists, everyone working on break. But the health system in Toronto, Ontario on a whole has been going downhill, right? It's been nurses are quitting. There's enough money. There's so many things going on within the health sector. And my mom, as you know, was in the hospital. I saw firsthand how it's not the best. So I know the weekend gave money to the Scarborough hospitals. Now we're seeing Kadri. I'm just so happy that these guys who are of color, when they leave, they come back and donate to the institutions for him. I think it's really important that we highlight them, and I do hope that we do see other nationalities, because someone like Kadri, who is Muslim, I can imagine what he's had to endure coming up in the sport, let alone
Mm-hmm.
playing in the NHL, right? So,
Right.
so Kadri's family were actually often targeted of by Islamophobic attacks on social media during the playoffs for him, right? Which were condemned by the Council on American Islamic Relations. So, I just can't believe that was happening in 2022. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, the the director, he made a comment stating that it was appalling and racist that these attacks were happening during the playoffs. Like, but it shows that the NHL fans are still not, you know, clearly. I mean, are we surprised? No, but it just shows that we have a long way to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, the fact that he's the first Muslim to hold a trophy and then does something, even though he was attacked during the playoffs, he was still able to give back to his own hometown. I think that shows a lot with someone like him. So I think it's
Most
dope.
definitely. And especially you say his hometown. His hometown, London, Ontario is well known for being a university town. And
Yes.
if you know how university towns are, they're not big metropolitan places. They're usually very, smaller cities or with a core base around university students. So it's kind of nice that he's giving back in the health and science sector, where that's Western is known for, as you were mentioning earlier. So,
Yeah.
the money that he's giving, that $1 million, is going into a very relevant place into the community that he's from. So, shout out to Nazim Kadri, most definitely.
Most def. And
Mhm.
I did find the second Muslim that's in the NHL. So there is only two. I
Okay.
thought so since 2017, there's been two. There has been no more added. So I wasn't sure. That's why I said 2017, but confirmed there's only two. The second Muslim, though, he was selected first overall in 2012 draft by the Edmonton Oilers. And now he plays for the Blues. So his name is Neil Yakupov. Yakupov. Do you want to say your name wrong, my dear? But Nelly Yakupov is the second Muslim, and he was drafted first overall for him. So that's also historic, right?
Nice.
The first was drafted seventh, the second was drafted first. So that's really cool. So he's one of two in the NHL right now.
Mm.
So You know what I'm saying? But big up to those guys. That's courage, that's strength, and doing things outside of the norm. I always commend. So that's why casual is for the culture. Ooh, ooh.
Ooh, ooh. Nelly J, why don't we close this out with that's absurd.
That's absurd. Faheem, bro. What was absurd this week? What was absurd?
Anthony Edwards. Very shocked. I mean, big fan. We both are. We both really rate Ant-Man. But the T Wolves are very disappointed in Anthony Edwards for his anti-gay remarks that he made in video on social media. Absurd.
Absurd. Also, did you read about how they even found out about this video?
He posted it.
So no, no, I don't think he posted it. I think like it was a video posted to his Instagram, but he didn't
Uh-huh.
post it and recorded him while I think he was in a car
Yeah,
or
right.
something like that. But it
Oh,
was
so
posted
okay.
to his yeah.
Because I
So I
heard
mean
it.
he apologized. Yeah, so he apologized and everything for it. But did you hear the
Mhm.
clip? I didn't hear it. Did you
Yeah,
hear the
yeah, I
clip?
heard it. Yeah, yeah, I heard the clip, and you're right. It will look. That's why it came across my feed. I saw it. He was in a car, and that's why I thought he had posted it. It seemed pretty authentic. So, you're saying that it was he read what
Yes.
happened?
So he was in a vehicle and being recorded, rolls down a car window and calls a group of shirtless men
Hmm.
queer. That's what he did. Okay.
Right.
So that
Well.
part was so he didn't record it himself. Someone recorded him doing that. So the
Mhm.
video was from the weekend of September. I was posted to his Instagram account, but soon deleted. And then on the 11th, he posted a message of apology and regret on his Twitter account. So
Hmm.
it's kind of like really weird. I mean, he apologized right away, which is good. It was deleted. But my thing is just like, you don't like, it's like you don't have someone like relations that like that kind of scanned your Instagram, or you know what I'm saying? Like you think of someone saying, hey, don't post that, whatever. But that was the anti LGBTQ remark that he made in the video. He was fined 40,000, just so you know, for this response. So the NBA did fine him.
Hmm.
And as we know, in the NBA, if you're a player of the NBA, if you do anything that creates or that people are do not like, especially if it's anti something, you will get fined. The NBA do not care if that's your personal time. They don't care that whatever you recorded it and you posted it. Too bad. But he was being recorded though, like so he didn't record it, but he was being recorded doing that.
Oh,
So
okay.
my
So that
thing is
maybe that's where I
that
got it off.
yeah,
Hmm.
so he was being recorded. So my thing is that, bro, your friends don't know that you can't say your friends should be posting things without you. You know what I'm saying? Like if Fahim,
Hmm.
if my homegirl is like Beyonce, right? And we're hanging out and she's doing some stuff, I'm not gonna post everything she says. Like, you know what? I don't think, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be posting just things without asking permission and tagging them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you,
Hmm.
you gotta be mindful. So he needs to, I'm hoping his friends learn from this experience. Like, don't be posting your boys saying stuff, or just at least make sure he watches it first and then whatever. But anyway, it kind of
Uh,
reminds me of Kevin Durant. Remember when he got fined 50K for his homophobic, um, misogyny?
right.
His, I
Hmm.
mean, again, right? That wasn't even postal. That was a private message, and the person shared his messages to the public, right?
Hmm.
So the point is, do NBA players do they have any privacy anymore?
Hmm. Well, I okay, so let me kind of add to the absurdity. Like it's 2022. People are getting canceled for less.
Yep.
He's an NBA player, and uh, he's obviously socially savvy. So, I mean, for him to, okay, yes, it's absurd for him to be recorded saying that. We have to kind of call him out just even for
For saying it. Yeah.
just for saying
Yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah. Oh
um,
well, I mean that's obviously obvious absurd. Like him
right.
him
No,
saying that is
yeah,
very absurd.
like,
But even like the
and
entire, I feel like from steps A to Z is absurd. Like every step
mhm,
of the way, it's just
mhm,
absurd,
mhm.
absurd, absurd, absurd. Yeah, for sure.
Like and it's a different time back in 2000, early 2000. I'm pretty sure it was Tim Hardaway. Tim Hardaway, he was on a radio show and he really was very blatant. The only difference, I guess, between Tim Hardaway and not Tim Hardaway, I just want to clarify, not Tim Hardaway Jr. as we know now, his father who played in the league. But Tim Hardaway back in the day, when he made his point, he was very blatant, and that was his stance at the time. What he said with Anthony Edwards, he was very blatant with what he said. That was a stance, but he didn't mean for that to get out to the public. While Tim Hardaway was very blatant, he had no qualms about his stance with that. But I'm just saying we've kind of evolved, because I think about even rap lyrics back in the day. There's things that would have been said that would, back in the day, um,
not just rap,
it would
like even
slide,
songs, even songs, like any genre of
Right,
music. Yeah,
right,
things
right, right.
you have to
There's a
be more
language
aware.
and
Yeah.
tone that was happening back in the day that nowadays. So I'm just surprised that Anthony Edwards, especially being a young player, he's young, tech savvy. For him to have those thoughts and express that, I must say I'm a little shocked, but he did apologize.
I'm not shocked though.
Really? Okay.
I think people say a lot of effed up shit for him
Mm-hmm.
in closed doors. I really do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying, like, to me, I wasn't shocked. I was just shocked that it was posted. But am I
Mm-hmm.
shocked? I think a lot of people say some stupid stuff amongst their closest friends, right? I really believe that.
Right, of course.
But so that's what I'm saying. So it's absurd because yes, he said it, but you would think someone at his age who is growing up in this new world would know not
Right.
to say that, right?
Right,
I feel like
exactly.
people that are older, they're still like they're not used to the new ways. So an
Mm-hmm.
older player saying that, but like, yeah, bro, you can't that, you know what I'm saying? But
Right.
he's 21, like you should know, like I feel like the kids nowadays, like 20-year-olds, like they know all the languages, they know everything. So I just
Mm-hmm.
feel like for him to do it, it's like at his age and the time he grew up, he should know that term, you can't use that term or call someone that, right? And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
even he said, even he said that it was immature and disrespectful. Like he called himself out and he's very sorry for it. So I commend him for at least taking it to the chin. And I think definitely this is a teachable moment for him and for all the young players in the NBA to understand that, yo, just because you're younger, you will get fined, right? You will get fined. So don't be saying certain things out of pocket.
Mm-hmm.
We're that one guy, I forgot, from the Miami, who said that nasty term during a video game, right? Like
Right. And
it's
that's
something where you just have to be mindful of your environment and that you are part of the public now.
mm-hmm.
So yes, you have privacy, but you don't have privacy. Like you do,
Right,
but you
right,
don't.
right, right,
You
right,
don't.
right.
So
All right. So Nelly J,
yes,
I think we should put this episode in the books.
absolutely. This is y'all. Thank you for watching the Good Rookie Show. So as you guys know, at this portion of the show, let's give our shout outs. Mine will be very simple and sweet. Faheem, Chelsea Gray. Chelsea Gray, the finals MVP for the WNBA, literally helped this team and was pivotal in helping her team not only win in the finals, but win in a way like she dropped 20. This girl was aggressive, just an intelligent player for him, very intelligent player. They call her the point guard, just so you know, in the WNBA as well. So I want to big up to Chelsea Gray, big up to, of course, Becky Hammond for winning her a title in her first year coaching in the league. That's crazy.
Mhm.
Of course, big up the entire squad too. So big up the aces. I actually had them winning from day one, the championship. And Faheem, I was correct. So, but I think if you watch WNBA at all this year, you can tell that team was just above everyone else. So big up
Mhm.
to all of them. Of course, Asia, who won MVP and Depoy as well in the same year. So big up to the Las Vegas Aces.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm gonna throw a quick shout out. Big up to Steph Curry in Under Armour.
Mm.
Nearly locked down. It looks like it's going to be $1 billion on that
A
contract.
Billy, a Billy, a
A
Billy.
Billy, a Billy. Yeah. So Steph, shout out to Steph doing, this is clearly every year is a good year for Steph, but winning a championship and on the off season tying down a contract that's going to make you a billionaire. Shout
Generational
out,
wealth.
shout out to Steph. Keep
Yo,
winning.
what's crazy for him? 1 million versus 1 billion is so it's such a big difference.
Mhm.
People think it's no like $1 billion. That's like your kids, like your whole family forever will be wealthy.
Yeah,
Forever. Like
yeah.
forever. There's no way you can run. You cannot run out of $1 billion. It's impossible, I think. With our lifespan, you cannot spend enough money to
Yeah.
spend $1 billion. That's
Yeah.
impossible.
Yeah.
Impossible.
Difference between a million and a billion, maybe one letter, but that one letter holds a lot of weight.
A lot of weight, brother. So great
Mhm.
shout out, man. Love it.
Yeah, most def. All
Whew.
right, let's put this episode in the books.
Yes, y'all. This is the Good Rookie Show. If you had a
Mhm.
good time, you enjoyed yourself, please like, subscribe, and tell a friend to tell a friend. Faheem.
We are on all platforms. If you're looking for us, you know it's a Good Rookie Show, and we out.
Peace.
Peace.